Before you know it, week 1 of the 2025 NFL season will be here, so I thought it would be a good idea with the NFL draft behind us to look ahead and make my first 53-man roster projection for the New York Football Giants. Before we do, though, if you want to see the Giants back in the playoffs, hit that thumbs up icon. I am tired of rooting for the Giants to lose so they can improve their draft position. I think they got a much better roster right now. If you want them in the offs, hit that like button. All right, let's start with the offensive side of the ball when it comes to the roster projection for the Giants. 53 players. Let's start with the QBs and the signal callers. A much improved room for the Giants. You go from being maybe the worst quarterback room in the NFL with Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle to one that I think should have a lot of respect throughout the National Football League. Russell Wilson brought the Pittsburgh Steelers to the playoffs. Jameis Winston is looked at as one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And Jaxson Dart looks like he was the second best quarterback by a lot of people's standards in the NFL draft. So you got a guy that can win you games now, a backup quarterback, and hopefully someone of the future. You might be thinking, well, Marsh, where is Tommy DeVito? I do not have the Giants keeping 4 quarterbacks this year on the roster. I think the Giants would love to have Tommy DeVito back on the practice squad. It would just be up to Cutlets if that is something that he would want to do. I think he would, but you never know. I have DeVito cut with an open invite back to the P squad. From quarterbacks to the halfbacks. 3 people staying on the roster for me. Tyrone Tracy Jr. had a heck of a season in his rookie campaign, exceeding a lot of people's expectations. Devin Singletary's first year with the Giants, maybe some people thought it fell below expectations, but I actually thought he was pretty good before he had some fumbling issues as well as the injuries popped up. I like him as an RB2 or RB3. And Cam Skattebo, I think by the end of the year, he could be the guy that's going on a 1A, 1B carry basis with Tyrone Tracy Jr. So you got 3 backs staying on the roster, which means Eric Gray and my man Dante Turbo Miller, unfortunately, is cut from the New York Giants again. I'm sure one of these young players will have an opportunity to return to the practice squad. I don't see a way they keep 4 running backs simply because Eric Gray provides 0 special teams ability, cannot return punts, and cannot return kicks. And Dante Miller didn't make the team last year. If they keep 4, I'd probably say Miller because he can return kicks and punts, but I'll go with 3 to be safe. Let's talk about some receivers now. Shocker of the year, I have Malik Nabers making the Giants' 53-man roster, as does Darius Slayton, Wan'Dale Robinson, and Jalin Hyatt. I think you can write all 4 of those names in Sharpie at this point. The next 2 spots were difficult for me, and I went back and forth saying, do they keep 6? Do they keep 7? So I went and looked, and it's pretty much been 6 for every single roster Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll have made. So give me Lil'Jordan Humphrey to play receiver and Ihmir Smith-Marsette to give you some special teams ability there, rounding out the 6, which means UDFA Antoine Juice Wells does not make the roster. I think he will compete. I think the connection with Jaxson Dart will help him make this team if he does. I wanted to put Bryce Ford-Wheaton on this team really bad, but I elected to go with Ihmir Smith-Marsette over him. And Zach Pascal, the special teamer who comes over from the Arizona Cardinals, finds himself on the outside looking in when it comes to the Giants' 53-man roster. From the wide receivers to the tight ends, I got just 3 making the team this go-around. Theo Johnson heading into year 2 out of Penn State. I expect big things out of him. Another year under his belt. Extremely raw prospect still, but the athletic ability is off the charts. And I think playing with a guy in Russell Wilson who's willing to throw the ball down the seam in a contested catch situation could really help Theo Johnson. Daniel Bellinger has been fighting for a roster spot each of the last 2 years. I have him making the team, as does Chris Manhertz, the inline blocking tight end. So these 3 guys are in, which means these 2 guys are out. Greg Dulcich joined the New York Giants last year with some injuries at tight end, has a relationship with Russell Wilson. He'll absolutely have a fair shot to make this team. I have him on the outside looking in, and I wanted to put the 7th-round pick, my man Thomas Fidone, the 2nd on the roster. They'll sneak him back onto the practice squad, continue to develop him, and see if there's any juice when it comes to him down the line. Let's go to the offensive line. I said, F it. Let's keep 10 guys. A lot of people only keep 9 offensive linemen. I said, you know what? You're not a New York Giant fan. You haven't seen this team's season fall off the train tracks for 27,000 years in a row because of offensive line injuries. So we're going to keep Andrew Thomas, John Runyon, John Michael Schmitz, Greg Van Roten, Jermaine Illuminor. That's going to be your starting offensive line day 1. You're going to keep Marcus Bowe, James Hudson, who you signed NFL free agency from the Cleveland Browns, will be your swing tackle. They really like Jake Kubis, the guard. Aaron Stinney was the guy that I was thinking about keeping off the roster. I have Evan Neal in, so you have Neal, who can be your backup right tackle as well as a potential backup guard, as can Aaron Stinney and Jake Kubis, with Hudson being a backup tackle and Bo providing the same ability as Neal. Maybe you wanted to keep another tackle, maybe, but 10 guys is a lot, and you have a couple of versatile pieces with Bo and Neal in that spot. Josh Azudu does not make the roster here early, and Stone Forsythe, who you signed in free agency, also does not make the roster. Again, a lot of things can change. They'll have an opportunity, and I hope the best 9 or 10 guys make this football team. So we've gone through the offense, 25 people who I have making the team. Before we talk about defense, I want to hear from you in the comments. The odds makers out west, the experts, the geniuses, the ball knowers. They have the Giants winning 5.5 games this year. Over, under. What say you? Let's go to the defensive line, the trenches. Dexter Lawrence, Darius Alexander, DJ Davidson, Roy Robertson-Harris, and Jeremiah Ledbetter. I want people to get to know the name Jeremiah Ledbetter. I think he's one of the most underrated free agent signings throughout the 2025 cycle. A really good run stopper. Doesn't really give you anything as a pass rusher, but a guy that can play on first down and can make an impact in a Giants defense that could not stop a nosebleed on the ground last year. They need someone that can stuff the run. You put Jeremiah Ledbetter next to Dexter Lawrence on first down with Thibodeau, Burns, and Carter roaming around. Then you get into 2nd and 12. Then you bring in Darius Alexander. Then you bring in a lot of other people. But I have Ledbetter making this team. Unfortunately, I do not have my guy Elijah Chapman, making the roster. I'm hoping they can sneak him back to the practice squad. I do think it will be a competition. Chapman and Riley will get more than an opportunity to make this team. But I just thought about it like this. Chapman is more of a pass rusher, and the Giants already have a lot of pass rushers. They went out and they drafted the guy at Toledo, blanking on his name, Darius Alexander at this point. And I think on passing downs, you're going to want Alexander on the field over Chapman. We'll find out, but at this moment, I have Chapman on the outside looking in. Let's go to the edge department, maybe the strongest position group for the Giants, which for a while we have not been able to say. Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, signed Chauncey Golston from the Dallas Cowboys. He can also slide into the defensive tackle as well. He could be your 3-4 end as well. And I have Victor Dimukeje making this team as well, a guy that can rush. His advanced analytics with the Cardinals last year were really good, and he's a special team specialist, so that's going to help make this roster. Timon Fox is not going to make this roster this year. I feel pretty confident in that. He's been a guy that's bounced back and forth from the roster to the practice squad. He's shown the ability to put his hand in the dirt and get after the quarterback, but the Giants' edge rushing group has gone from a weakness to a major strength, and when you got Burns and Thibodeau and Carter and Golston, it's just tough to make that roster for him at this point. Shout out to Jaxson Dart, though, and shout out to Abdul Carter. And you can get both Giants rookies jerseys today. Go to chatsports.com/Dart or chatsports.com/Carter. No, they're not wearing one. When they get a jersey number, they'll put it on the jersey, and they'll send it to you. Get your jersey today before they sell out. Chatsports.com/Dart, chatsports.com/Carter. They did the same thing this time last year with Malik Nabers, and all the jerseys were sold out by the time he chose number 1. You don't want to be last on the list to get a jersey. So get one now, so you're not waiting until week 14 to get your jersey. The inside linebacker room for the Giants: Bobby Okereke, Micah McFadden, Darius Musa, and I have Deontay Johnson. The inside line felt like John Gruden saying that. Deontay Johnson, man, this guy just loves football, man. Toledo inside linebacker had his season cut short due to injuries last year, but he was a standout all offseason long. I think he's going to be able to stay healthy this year and make this team. The Giants went out and signed 2 inside linebackers in free agency. More so, though, are special teams guys, and I don't have them on the initial 53-man roster. That is Chris Board, who has played for the Ravens, and Demetrius Flanagan Fowles from the San Francisco 49ers. He also not in my 53-man roster as we film this video on May 6th. So long time to go, and a lot of things can change. To the cornerback room: Paulson Adebo, CB1, signing a big-time deal to come join this team from the New Orleans Saints. Thanks, Trizzy. Deonte Banks is going to be on this roster. Hopefully year 3 is the year for him to show why he was a first-round pick. Drew Phillips will be a starting slot corner heading into year 2, fourth round pick out of Kentucky. Cordell Flott as well, year 4 out of LSU. Trey Hawkins, one of your only boundary corners. And Corey Black, the 7th round pick out of Oklahoma State. I have him making the team 6 foot, 200 pounds, runs a 4.3. Find a way to use him. He's a gunner on special teams. Do that. If he covers kicks, do that. Too big, too fast, too strong not to be on the team. Which means Art Green and D. Williams are 2 players that I do not have making the initial 53-man roster for the New York Giants at this moment. Corner had a major upgrade with Paulson Adebo, and if Deonte Banks can play like we're hoping he could play, that's going to be a big, big lift for this squad. The safety position for the Giants is one I'm really happy about, but I also think it could use another player. Javon Holland, big contract sign, moves from Miami to New York. Tyler Nubin, 2nd-round pick out of Minnesota heading into year 2. Need him to play like we saw on tape back with the Golden Gophers. And Dane Belton, it's now or never, my man, year 4 out of Iowa at this point. He's been known as the guy that can force some turnovers. We know that Shane Bowen wants to play with multiple DBs on the field. He's going to get some chances to make some plays. Hopefully he answers the bell. And at the moment, I have Anthony Johnson Jr., the 4th safety making the team. I didn't feel too strongly about that. Maybe the Giants look to the waiver wire or somewhere else to add a safety, which means Raheem Lane is on the outside looking in of the early 53-man roster. I'd like to see the Giants go out and add another safety. No disrespect to Anthony Johnson Jr., but a little more talent at that spot I think could go a long way for this club. So 25 players on offense, 25 players on defense, and 3 special teamers. Graham Gano, Jamie Gillen, and yours truly, Casey Kreider. I think it's a much improved roster. I think the Giants are much better than they were when they ended the season last year, but you got to stay healthy. Give me 17 games out of 78. Give me 17 games out of 97 and 17 games out of number 1. And I think this team's going to be pretty dang good. Grade the Giants roster for me, 1 to 100, like a paper back in school. Back to school, back to school. Grade the roster down in the comments. And give me a follow on social media. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram, @MarshallGreen_. Hit me up, and let's go G-Men.